Hey everyone, welcome back. Today we're going to be talking about unhealthy communities, some of the aspects of the unhealthy community, why they impact a community in a negative way, and ways that you can help combat them. So to look at the first thing, the in and the out group. The best way to describe this is Mean Girl. If you've seen Mean Girl, you know that the main group of girls are very much the cool crowd, the group that has all that power. When they're trying to mess with Regina George and doing just different weird stuff, people get on board and they follow it because they don't want to be shunned as the out group. And so in groups and out groups can be really, really, really impactful in a negative way on your community because they can make people feel excluded, shunned, any number of things that is just not a good thing. Ways that you can combat this as the RA, you can really work ahead of time to become that in group and make your in group one that accepts everyone across the house, people from outside the house, and really help the culture to be one that says, okay, we don't want to have an out group, we only want to have an in group where people feel connected. Rising levels of tension and irritation. These are especially prevalent and big warning signs of an unhealthy community around midterms and finals, but they can always be issues. There are more arguments, there's higher levels of stress, and a lot of times this is based in communication. People aren't able to talk about what's frustrating with them. They have small things that have been bugging them since the beginning of the year, and it's just gone left untalked about. As an RA, you can really work to build out some communication styles with your residents, help them to feel comfortable bringing things up, drawing those boundaries so that if people are feeling frustrated, they can have a place to step away and be able to take care of themselves. With apathy and lack of engagement, students just they live in a place because they live in the house because they have to, not because they want to. They have no ownership of the experience and have no real reason to want to upkeep it and build a strong community because for them they're going to be there for a couple of years and they're going to be there for a year even. They're going to peace out as quickly as they can, and this can lead to a lot of destructive behavior because if you don't see a place as your own, what real reason do you have to take care of it? Yeah, and as an RA, it's really working to build people into that decision making and building them into having a voice on the floor and feeling a part of something bigger. House traditions, group discussions during decision making are huge and helping people to feel a little bit more included. Having an open door policy where people feel part of something bigger, and so they're engaged in the day to day and not just when when the group is making a decision is big too. Gossip and rumors, that's the next one we're going to head on. It sets people against each other and it leads to unfounded assumptions and judgments. So what this means is, I may have never spoken to the person 3 doors down, but because of something I heard from another person who's mad at them, now I just have it in my head that I'm not gonna like them, they're a scummy person. And so, a big thing you can do as an RA is just when you hear things like this, it's shooting it down and doing it in a respectful way and in a way of saying, hey, if this was you, how would you like it if people were talking about this around the floor? Or have you talked to this person yet? And let them know about these frustrations you have if it's gossip or, bringing things to light so that they can't just sit and fester in the dark. Putting on a fake front. This is something students do because they don't, for any number of reasons really. There's not really a specific reason they do this, but it prevents genuine relationships because they'll see someone they don't like, but they don't feel like they can address maybe the underlying issue, or be okay with just existing in a space and not really interacting. And it prevents genuine relationships because people are putting on those faces and then turning right around and talking behind each other's backs. What you can do is really focus on building genuine relationships yourself and pushing people when you are hearing them, interacting with someone and then flipping around and being like, I don't like this person. Saying, okay, well, talk to me a little bit about that. You were just being really friendly to them, and made plans to hang out with them tomorrow. Why are you doing that if you don't enjoy spending time with them? And the next one is passive aggressive. So this can be at different levels. So you can have passive aggressive where you're just leaving sticky notes for each other that are not very kind and are trying to handle a problem in a way that's not going to be very successfully managed. Or on the other flip side of this, you could have issues where you get a bunch of your resident friends, your residents get a bunch of friends together and they create a petition to force you to move out of your room because they don't like you or you did something that annoyed them. Small issues become big ones very quickly because they go unsolved and problems will go unresolved. And so what you can do is really build out those roommate agreements and community agreements ahead of time to help to try and build in those communication styles, be able to talk about things and say, hey, I'm frustrated about this, let's chat about this and figure it out. So the impacts these aspects have, they lead to power struggles. People don't see it as a, hey, we're all a part of this. They see it as, I'm going to try and grab up as much as I can, and you know what? Screw anyone else who gets in my way. It leads to poor academics and leaving Michigan Tech because, well, actually, I'll group poor academics with poor health. Kind of converse to the healthy community. If you don't feel like you're a part of a healthy community, then you will you'll sit and stress about it. You'll sit and stress about the issue you're having with your roommate, and that's going to negatively impact your health and your grades if you're doing too much worrying about it, because stress is linked to illness. People can leave tech, if they don't feel like they're a part of something bigger, and they feel lonely, they feel excluded, any number of things. I actually left my first place I went for undergrad because my community was dysfunctional. I didn't feel like I had anyone there who was a friend. They gossiped, they constantly fought, and it just was not a great place. And so that's something we never want to see. We're a part of a tech family, and we don't want people to feel like their only option is to leave. We want to empower people to approach things and fight for what they love. Loneliness, if you feel excluded from the floor, this kind of goes with leaving tech. If you don't feel like you have anyone who's being real and genuine with you, and you don't feel like you've built any relationships, you're going to feel lonely. Conflict is going to come out because people are not going to be addressing things or communicating their needs effectively. You're going to have heightened levels of stress because you're worrying about stuff that's going on the floor, or dynamics of a floor mate or a like a roommate. And then you'll have increased number of policy violations, because when people have no ownership, they have a lot less reason not to break policy, not to damage things, and not to, to violate policy, basically. So you as the RA, the biggest things I can leave you with is really work to be a role model. Role model is healthy behaviors, address and bring up when you see things that are unhealthy. You do it in a respectful, a place of caring as opposed to a place of condemnation. Say, hey, I've noticed this on the floor and I really don't like it. Let's sit down and chat about this. Let's look at why, some of these actions are the way they are, and really just bring issues into the light. Issues grow and they, develop when they're left in the dark, and people sit and stay mad about them, but don't do anything to address them. So I hope this has been informational and enjoyable. Thank you so much.